Have you ever been confused by all the terminology used in shiny hunting videos? Well, this video will be your help. I'm going to be going over all shiny hunting terminology and abbreviations and explaining what it all means. If you're looking for a particular bit of information, I'll have timestamps in the description, and if I don't, just harass me in the comments and I'll add them. With that being said, let's begin with the different abbreviations for encounters. First up, we have the most basic and commonly used encounter abbreviations, and those are RE and SR. RE stands for Random Encounter, which is any encounter in which encounter slots within the game determine the wild Pokemon that appears. So basically just running around in grass, a cave, that kind of thing. SR stands for Soft Reset, which is a combination of buttons that will reset the game without having to turn off your entire system. The buttons you need to press to make a soft reset vary depending on the game you're playing, so on screen now you'll see the buttons you need to press to soft reset on each system. Note that all of the buttons have to be held down at the same time for this to work. For ones that require pressing L and R, shiny hunters often put rubber bands around their systems to hold those buttons down, making soft resetting a lot more convenient. There are also a few more encounter abbreviations that are less commonly used, so I'll just briefly go through those right now. There's FE, which stands for Fishing Encounter, HB, which stands for Headbutt, a way of encountering Pokemon that's exclusive to the Johto games, and RA, which stands for Runaway, which is used to hunt stationary Pokemon that don't permanently disappear when you run from them, such as Shaman in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. By the way, for anyone wondering how us shiny hunters count all of our encounters, most of us use some form of calculator. I personally use the calculator app on my old iPod because it's easy to just tap the equal sign for each encounter. Next, I'm going to be talking about full odds shiny hunting. The term full odds refers to the standard rate of encountering a shiny Pokemon, which is 1 in 8,192 in all games prior to Generation 6, and 1 in 4,096 in Generation 6 and 7. However, the more recent games have introduced lots of ways to increase those odds, which are referred to as methods. Examples of methods are the Masuda method, PokeRadar, DexNav, Friend Safari, Consecutive Fishing, and the new method introduced in Sun and Moon, SOS battles. The shiny charm is also kind of a method, but what it does is increases your chances of finding a shiny by any means, even what would otherwise be full odds. Now I'm going to be moving on to live shinies. A live shiny is one that is encountered on screen while recording. If a shiny is found while recording but is on a game that isn't being recorded, it is known as a live reaction shiny. The term live reaction has been misused quite a lot, so hopefully this clears that up for anyone new to shiny hunting who is confused about that. The next thing I'm going to be talking about is phasing. The term phase is used during a hunt for a specific shiny, often referred to as a target. If you get a shiny that isn't the target, that's the first phase for your target. For example, if you're hunting for a shiny Skarmory in Reversal Mountain, but instead you get a shiny Drifblim, that would be your first phase for Skarmory. If you hunt there again and this time you get your Skarmory, that means you got your target on the second phase. Continuing on, we have the abbreviations FoYT and FLoYT. FoYT stands for First on YouTube, and FLoYT stands for First Live on YouTube. These terms have always been the subject of a lot of controversy within the shiny hunting community, as there's not really a distinct answer to what all does and doesn't count as the first of a certain shiny on YouTube, but it generally refers to the first on YouTube within a game and its counterparts. For example, if someone finds a shiny Pikachu in Diamond, and there's already a video of a shiny Pikachu in Pearl, most people will say the Diamond one doesn't count as a first because Diamond and Pearl are part of the same group of games. However, if a shiny Pikachu is later found in Heart Gold, it would still count as first because even if they are all Generation 4 games, Heart Gold is completely different from Diamond and Pearl. Like I said though, there's a lot of dispute and controversy about these terms, so honestly, it would probably just be best to forget about them, because in the end it really doesn't matter who's first. Now we're going to be moving on to a popular challenge among shiny hunters, the Badge Quest. The Badge Quest, or BQ for short, was created by a shiny hunter known as Chaos Darkrai back in 2009, and is a quest where you must find a shiny before obtaining each gym badge in a game, then one before and after the Elite Four, making for a total of 10 shinies. Most badge quests begin with a shiny starter, but that part is optional if you really don't want one. Badge quests in Heart Gold and Soul Silver can also include the Kanto region in Red, making for a total of 20 shinies. Since Pokemon Sun and Moon don't have any gyms though, the most obvious replacement for that would be the Trial Quest, finding a shiny before completing each trial instead of before each badge. Next, I'll be talking about shiny hunting competitions. There are two big shiny hunting competitions hosted each year, the ISHC and the WSHC. These competitions take place in the summer and winter respectively. The ISHC stands for International Shiny Hunting Cup, while the WSHC stands for Winter Shiny Hunting Cup. During these competitions, shiny hunters form teams to see which team can find the most shinies in the given time frame. These competitions are usually only for full odds hunting, and there are no prizes or anything. They're just meant to bring the community together for a bit of fun. There are also two big shiny hunting events that aren't competitions. The first of those is Safari Week, which is a week in which shiny hunters all hunt in the Safari Zone for a bit of risky fun. This event usually takes place around the beginning of June every year, and obviously the only Safari Zones that count for this are the ones in which Pokemon can flee. The second and more recently created event is Rumble Weekend, a weekend where shiny hunters hunt in Pokemon Rumble. This event doesn't currently have set dates, but it does happen a few times a year. Also, for anyone wanting to take part in this, make sure to only hunt in the original Pokemon Rumble for WiiWare, as that's the only version that actually has wild shinies. Now on to a useful trick for shiny hunting, and that's the Repel Trick. The Repel Trick is when you use repels to change the encounter rates of Pokemon. Since repels only work on Pokemon that are a lower level than the first Pokemon in your party, you can use this trick to raise the encounter rates of targets that are higher level than other Pokemon in the area. Or you could just use it to eliminate low level Pokemon that you don't want to find. An example of this is the Eevee Repel Trick in Castelia Garden in Pokemon Black and White 2. Since Eevee is the only Pokemon in this area to appear at level 19, leading with a level 19 Pokemon of your own and spraying repels will result in only Eevee being encountered. Something to note though is that repels will take into account fainted Pokemon in Generation 6 and up, whereas in previous generations they do not. Using the Eevee example, this means that if you have a level 100 Pokemon fainted in the first slot, and a healthy level 19 Pokemon in the second slot, the repel will ignore the fainted Pokemon and work based on the second slot, so the trick will still work. However, if this was in Gen 6 upward, the repel would work based on the level 100 fainted Pokemon, so the trick wouldn't work. Now I'm going to be talking about something that's not so great, shiny locks. If a Pokemon is shiny locked, it can never be found shiny. Shiny locks in the main series games began in Generation 5, and it only got worse from there. I'm not going to go over everything that's shiny locks because that would take forever, but most of them are legendaries. I could go over all the shiny lock Pokemon in a separate video though, so if you guys would like to see that, be sure to leave a comment letting me know. Also, it's popular belief that Arceus is shiny locked in the Generation 4 games, however that isn't true. Arceus is obtained by using an event item called the Azure Flute, but that item was never actually distributed. Because of that, Arceus as a whole could not be obtained by legitimate means. However, if you use an action replay to obtain the Azure Flute, the Arceus you encounter is able to be shiny. Shiny locks do however exist in the side series games Colosseum and XD. In Colosseum, only Shadow Pokemon can be shiny, while in XD it's the complete opposite. All Pokemon other than Shadow Pokemon can be shiny. Another abbreviation you might come across in shiny videos is IRL. This one's pretty straightforward, with it of course being based on the abbreviation meaning in real life. An IRL is just a group of shiny hunters meeting up in real life and shiny hunting together. The final term I'm going to be covering in this video is the Shino. A Shino is when you think a Pokemon is shiny at first, but it turns out to not actually be shiny. This can be a split-second thought, or one so bad you start to react. I can say I've definitely had my fair share of Shinos while hunting. And there you have it, an explanation of all the terminology used in shiny hunting. If there's anything I missed, please tell me in the comments and I'll be sure to explain it to you. I'll post anything I missed in a pinned comment, so be sure to check for that before commenting because I may have already answered your question. Anyway, I hope you all found this video helpful. If you did, be sure to leave a like and spread the video so that we can help out as many new shiny hunters as possible. Also, if you enjoyed the video, here are some more you might like. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye guys!